Welcome to the Spiceworks Help Desk Cloud Edition demonstration. My name is Richard Bailey, and I am with Lee Young, who's going to be going over our brief introduction and overview. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, and we'll make sure to answer them as they come in. Take it away, Lee.
Hi everybody. Okay, well, as Richard was saying, we're going over the Help Desk Cloud Edition today. This is a newer piece of software from Spiceworks. We've had an on-premises version for about 10 years now, and from popular demand, we decided to come out with a cloud version as well. So today, we're going to take you through setting up your Help Desk Cloud account to, just showing you everything about it. Now, if you have ever used any of our Spiceworks products before, you will have already created a Spiceworks community account with your credentials, and that's where I'm going to start us off here. The workflow when you're getting started, getting registered, is pretty much the same whether you've already gotten a community account or you don't have one yet. So you're not going to see much difference here as we go through, but I'll quickly just enter in some. If I can type today, credentials here. And since I don't have an account on this yet other than the community account, it's going to first ask me what is our organization. And so we're going to come in and quickly say this is our cloud demo organization and put that down here in the domain area as well. Now, one thing I will tell people, make sure when you're putting in a domain, do not use an underscore. The reason not to use an underscore is a few email systems out there don't like it. For example, Gmail. So if you were to have an underscore here and you had an end user using a Gmail account, that would cause the email not to go through. They'd get a note saying it's a bad email address, even though it really is an okay one. So once I tell it to register, you saw it just ask me for some quick credentials, and now we're actually ready and set to go to start working with the Help Desk Cloud here. The nice thing about the Spiceworks Help Desk Cloud is that by creating the account, it automatically sets up an email address, sets up a user portal address. At this point, I am really just set to go. Now, like any ticketing system, there's a few things you're going to see across all of them. One of the nice things about Spiceworks is we, of course, come in here and allow you to have multiple ticket views, such as open tickets, waiting tickets, closed, seeing just tickets that are assigned to you as well. And so this drop-down list will let you switch between those views. Okay? You also, of course, will always need the ability to actually create a ticket. Oh, my Lord, surprise, surprise. So end users, of course, will come to you directly at times, and if that's the case, you do have the ability to add the ticket yourself right through the new ticket form here. It asks for the contact, summary, description, all the normal stuff in a Help Desk product here. And, of course, there is the ability to search for tickets as well. Now, one thing I tell people about the search option in the Help Desk Cloud here is that this will only search on the ticket view you're in. So, in this case, if you have multiple technicians working here and one of them goes through and starts closing tickets, you're not going to then be able to search the open ticket view for that closed ticket. You're either going to have to go to closed or all tickets in order to see that. And of course, there's a list of tickets here as well. Since we just started this one up brand new, there's only this one, hey, welcome to Spiceworks Help Desk ticket. Okay? Again, as your tickets come in, they will get listed here automatically. As we go right down here through the ticket information, we can of course see the common stuff like seeing the description and summary of the ticket, who it was created by and when, such it says my name since it was automatic here. And of course there's some action buttons to say, hey, let's accept this ticket, assign it to myself. Maybe I want to close it or merge it into another ticket if I've got multiple duplicates there, or put in a waiting on user status if I know an end user is going to be out of the office for a while. Okay? So for example, if your end user is going away for 2 weeks, they're on vacation, you might not want that ticket clogging up your ticket view for a while. That waiting on user option will put it in the waiting queue, and automatically when they come back and respond to the ticket next, it'll be brought right back into the open ticket view. Okay? And of course, as an admin, if I ever need to, I have the option to delete tickets. Okay? Now, as we continue on through the ticket option here, there of course are the ability to have attributes on your ticket, and by default there's some standard ones here. Priority is pretty common, who it's assigned to, and ticket categories. Now by default there's no ticket categories set up, but we're able to set that up custom, and we'll show you that in a minute here. There's also the ability to do time spent, so I can track how long a ticket has been worked on, and I can even go through and say, hey, let's assign it to assign some time to another user with a description if I need to, again for labor reports. Also can set due dates, and I can see, of course, the history of the ticket itself. We have the ability to do a public response, which will go out to all end user and tech users on this ticket, or internal, which only goes onto the tech users on this ticket. Okay. We also have the ability to, of course, attach a file there, or say, hey, if I've got a long history of a ticket, I only want to look at public, private, or changes to attributes with updates. Okay. That's a quick run through the main ticket screen here. Are there any questions on the main ticket screen?
No, it looks like everybody's following along pretty well. I guess one of the things that I want to make sure that they know about is, of course, how do we know what kind of organization would want to use this, or what are the requirements around using the Cloud Help Desk?
Well, the Cloud Help Desk can really be used by anyone. The nice thing about the Spiceworks Help Desk Cloud is when we built it along the idea of you're going to have people with end users from multiple organizations that they may need to support, or of varying sizes. Okay? So this will handle anywhere from your very small business, 20-man shop sort of thing, up to thousands of users. Okay? It's nice and quick and easy. Again, this is built to scale beyond the small business aspect, which is what Spiceworks has traditionally focused towards. Okay? And as to system requirements, really all you need is an internet connection and a web browser. Okay? It will work on pretty much anything there is out there now. Of course, Microsoft Internet Explorer and Edge, Firefox, Safari, Chrome, like I said, just a web browser. Okay? And what's really nice with Spiceworks is you can, even with the cloud version, say, hey, I don't even want to deal with a web browser as an IT pro. You can handle it all through a mobile app as well. Okay? You can get started, everything running right from there.
Great, thanks.
All right, so next we're going to move on to the settings options here, because this will really let us take you through some of the little tweaking and customization you can do. One of the things I mentioned earlier is, of course, Spiceworks was built along the idea of, hey, you may have people where they have multiple clients. Okay? So each client, I want to come in and show up as someone different. So Cloud Demo is one organization. That's the default one I set up. I can also go through here and say, hey, let's just call this Demo 2, Cloud-Demo 2. Now, when I create this second organization, it will have a unique email address versus the original. We can see the original here. It says Cloud-Demo as the email address and portal. This one has a 2 there. So that means as I take on different clients, I can always have them go to a unique email address for them, and when the ticket comes in, it will be brought in listing that organization. So that helps me sort this out. It's also nice because within the details here, I can come through and even go so far as to have a unique user portal that has different information for each of the organizations. Again, just try and customize that experience for my end users a little bit. Now, as Spiceworks, the cloud version here, it becomes a little more mature. We'll see custom settings in the user portal as well, so you can do custom HTML content blocks and so forth. Right now, as we look at it, it's a nice, quick, and kind of streamlined user portal right now, and we'll show you that. You can see right now it's pretty streamlined. It's just messaging and putting in a ticket. Okay? As we expand the Cloud Edition more, and we'll be able to change the coloring on here, add custom content blocks, so you can really brand that how you like. Okay? Within the organization settings here, we've recently gone through and said, hey, we understand that it's nice to have everything nice and broken down, so we've done a little bit of changing here. If you've used the Help Desk Cloud before, to where now instead of it all in one giant list, we've broken it down into different segments. In the general settings, all we can really do is change the name of the organization, but the subdomain is going to stay the same with all of the address information staying the same there as well. Now, in the email area, this is where I can really get into some tweaking. I can go through and say, hey, here's a whitelist of domains that I want to support. So if an email comes into this organization that isn't on my domain whitelist when I set one up, the email is ignored. Okay? This is very important if you guys decide to start using an internal email address and do forwarding to the Help Desk Cloud. For example, with Google Apps and Gmail, when you set that forwarding, it's going to send a verification message. If you don't have google.com listed in the domain, it's going to fail. You're going to have to contact us for help because you might not remember it.
And the option, of course, is to leave that blank. I mean, we don't have to put a whitelist in.
Exactly. If you leave it blank, it allows everything in. Okay? It's just, this is where we say, hey, if you want to do a little bit of spam control, you can handle it through the domain whitelisting. The reason we don't do a lot of spam control on our end is we don't want to accidentally start blocking out emails that really should be created as tickets for you guys. Now, as we go down through the settings, there is the ability to say, hey, I want a custom display name on the email address as well, so that when it comes into your inbox, it doesn't just say help at something. Okay? It's going to say, like in this case, demo2 help desk is essentially the name it's going to show. I can also do a custom footer, so this is important if I'm in a PCI or HIPAA compliant organization and I always want to have every email the help desk sends out have a confidential notice. Okay? Saying, hey, this is confidential, or really anything you want you can put in there as well, but it'll go out for every email on this organization, and again, it's optional. Okay? You also have the ability to set up a custom outbound email address. Now, when doing this, this is for if, again, you're using Gmail, Google Apps, or your own Exchange server and forwarding email in. You then want the message to go back and say, hey, it's from that internal email address you have. Okay? So you can spoof the address using this custom field, and when using it, make sure you set up SPF records that point to on.spiceworks.com, because that will make sure it doesn't get caught by spam filters. Okay? And then we also give additional options now saying, hey, here's other ways to ignore emails. For example, if you have out-of-the-office replies or delivery errors, you can then go through and change these settings to wean those out and not create loops. Another new piece of functionality our dev team has recently put out here is the ability to granularly control email notifications. So now you can go through and toggle on and off when you want your admin and tech users or your end users to receive an email from the help desk. Okay? That's, again, quick and easy way we're trying here. We also just recently gave the ability to integrate this with your Active Directory if you have it. Okay? So now if you're using NTLM LDAP or any Active Directory, you can go through and not have your end users just put in an email address. Now they'll have to use their Active Directory credentials to log into the user portal. There are instructions here if needed. I'm not going to take you through it in detail in this webinar, but if you ever need help, just reach out to us and here in support.
And that email address is right there on that screen. That's support@spiceworks.com. About this topic or any of the topics that we're going over as well, if you come up with a question when you try to implement it yourself.
Yeah, just let us know. That's what we're here for. And then you also have the ability to set up custom ticket categories and custom attributes for the tickets as well. Now with the custom attribute, what's really nice is, there we go, we can go through and actually show, hey, I want to do a number, text field, text area, list, or date, however you want. Go ahead, put in custom attributes. That allows you to track more information. Okay? And where that really comes in strong is as you're tracking more information with the tickets when they come in, you can start going through and doing some ticket rules. Okay? Ticket rules are nice to give you some automation functionality. So right in here, I can go through and say, hey, if it's created by a certain person, if it's got a description, organization, or summary, I want to then automatically assign it to someone, set a priority, and if I had ticket categories, which I could have set up here. We'll quickly go in here and just set up a test category. Test. So as I was saying, then I can also look at, hey, what category did a ticket come in on? Right now we've only got the test, but I can have this then process rules such as assigning it to a specific person, changing the category again if I have, if I'm using the description option with a tag, so when people are putting in emails, we can still set the category, set a due date priority, CC it to another user, and so forth. Okay? Now, again, as the product matures more, we will be adding additional functionality in here, such as being able to do ticket rules based on custom attributes. I don't yet have a firm ETA, but it will be coming. It's something we've had a lot of response on, and we want to make sure is out there for you. Okay. And then finally, in the settings area, there's the ability to, of course, invite other admin and tech users. Okay. This is important because hopefully you guys aren't running a one-man shop. I've been there, and I always hope that every other IT pro at least has some backup. So in the Help Desk Cloud, we have two different types of roles. We have your admin roles who have access to everything. They've got the keys to the kingdom. They can see all settings, all report information, everything. Tech users, on the other hand, they're a little more limited. They're only able to see tickets that are unassigned, assigned to themselves, or that they've been CC'd on. And when I come through and create a user, all it's going to really ask me is, hey, what's the person's name, what's their email address, and if I'm tracking an hourly rate so I can do it for labor reports, I can put in an hourly rate as well. But once I fill this out and send it on, it's actually just going to be emailed out an invitation to the user I list, and it's going to come back and say, hey, you've been invited to the Help Desk Cloud Edition, sign up, or just click on the registration. It'll build a community account then and link them to this Help Desk Cloud account. Now, one thing to keep in mind is currently the Help Desk Cloud only allows an admin or tech user to be on one Help Desk Cloud account at a time. Okay? So that means if you guys were testing this out in your environment, every tech went out and created their own Help Desk Cloud account, let support know. We can help you get those all moved over into one single account. Okay? We're happy to help. So there we go. Any questions so far?
No, we're looking good. Actually, we had two questions, but you actually answered both of them. What about recording the people they're supporting? So we can record the technicians, but can we record the people they're actually supporting in these different organizations?
Yes, definitely. I skipped over that one here. In the organization itself, there's a user management area. When a user places a ticket, it will automatically add them to the user management area. So then if it comes in by email, it'll pull in their first name and last name and their email address. Phone number is just if you guys want to go through, edit it yourselves and add it. But you can also come through and manually add someone. So let's just say we've got fake person. Poor person has a fake name. They're just, yeah. Fake that person at mycompany.com. So if I want to manually add them, I can, but again, it will automatically build these as the tickets are created. So if you've got hundreds of end users, there's no point in coming in here and adding them all manually. We want to make it easy for you, so just don't stress about that part of it. And we're just trucking along pretty quickly today.
Looking good, looking good.
So the next area we're going to go to is the reports area. Now, what's really nice with the Help Desk Cloud here is we have a nice dashboard which goes through and says, hey guys, if you've got a manager that comes by and just wants to quickly check in on you guys and see what's going on, you can go to the reports dashboard and see things such as how many new tickets have been created, how many tickets are assigned to me myself, how many are open, how many are unassigned, and you can choose the different date ranges you want here. So I can look at just today, the last 7 days, or the last 30 days. Now, in the future, we will be looking to have the ability to set custom date ranges here, and I don't yet know when that will be rolled out, but it is something we've had a lot of response on, so it's something we're working towards. I can also go in here and say, hey, I only want to look at data for a single organization. So right now, since I've only got one ticket and it's in the cloud demo one, if I go through the cloud demo, I'll see nothing changed. If I go to demo 2, it's going to be completely blank because I don't have any tickets yet. But this will change based upon the tickets as they come in. So all you have to really do is refresh the page. It'll query the database again, update the data. But I can also go through and see a nice bar graph of, hey, what's the ticket history, how many open or closed on different days in this time frame, so I can track whether my whether I'm seeing more business over time, more tickets over time. I can also look at the ticket churn to see how well is my tech team doing. Am I seeing a whole lot of tickets being opened and very few being closed, mostly being closed, not that many opened, so forth. And a nice little bar graph here, again, just to see what the churn is. If I'd actually gone through and responded to my test ticket, I'd also be able to see what's my average response time over the time frame I set at the top. Same thing with close. It does an average of how many have been closed within this time frame. I can also go through and see a category breakdown if I set up multiple categories, so I can see, hey, am I having mostly issues with hardware, a certain piece of software? Are we just having a lot of new and closed users, or new and terminated users, so I know if I've got churn in the HR side of my company? And yeah, that's always fun. And then also, who are my top 5 ticket creators? So maybe there's people out there you need to go out and give just a little bit more user training to. This will help you identify those users, or maybe there's someone who really is having a hardware problem and you might have to replace their entire system. Again, the top 5 ticket creators will just let you know points where you might need to go back and look into it a bit more. Okay? And then finally, in the reports area, we realize you guys are going to want to run some custom reports at some point. Spiceworks, the Cloud Edition, does not yet have the ability to do detailed reporting within the help desk itself, but in the export area, you can actually come through and say, hey, I want to export this to a CSV file. Okay? We've got a couple of different options. We've got current ticket data and current labor. So current will say, let's use the time frame listed in my dashboard. And then all will say, hey, from the beginning of time of my help desk cloud account, give me everything. And still only looking at the organization I've got the dashboard on. Now the difference between the ticket data and the labor is really just whether it's aggregate or not. Ticket data will give me an aggregate of everything, so if I'm looking at time spent, it's going to show me just the full amount of time spent of however many minutes. Labor data breaks it up by ticket, meaning every entry of time spent within a ticket will be listed out. So this lets me really go through and say, hey, on this ticket, how much time did we do for each different issue on it, or different part of the process, and then what am I billing for that? Okay? Just again, lets me track labor data a little bit more. Okay? Any questions on the reporting page?
No, we're looking good.
Okay. And then we also have a activity area here. This is pretty much just Twitter for the help desk, is the way I like to think of it. It's another good manager overview area. If I have a lot going on and a manager comes through and just says, hey, are you guys working? Are you actually responding to tickets? You, of course, have the reporting area, which will show you some graphs, but this will give you a breakdown of everything that's happened recently, all comments, attachments, and you can go through and say, hey, look, we're actually working on this. Now mosey along, please. Okay, so the activity one is pretty quick and simple here because there's not a lot of information to cover. And then we really are trucking quickly today. The last couple of things to cover here is, of course, whenever you need to get help, we're here to help. Okay? There's multiple ways to contact support. You see it in multiple areas here. There's email addresses such as support@spiceworks.com or help-desk-cloud-support@spiceworks.com was also listed on one of these pages. Or it's actually listed right here. But you can go ahead and just email us if you need help. We also have a help link in the upper right, which will say, hey, let's take us to the Getting Started guide, or release notes. If you want to see what recently has changed in Spiceworks, there's a good place to go. You can also get to our support page, which has a lot of different documentation as well. And finally, recently we've come out with the ability to have an in-app messenger that will submit a ticket right to us. In the lower right-hand corner, there is that question mark. You can come in here and say, hey, we've got a test. Or, just send a message off to us. We'll send one here real quick. This is just a demo. And I'm sure someone in the support team is going to go, Lee, why'd you do that? Because this will automatically send a ticket to our support team. And we'll see it's delivered but hasn't been seen by our support team yet. And you get a quick message back saying, hey, we're going to get back to you quickly here. Okay? If you ever want to go back and look at some old stuff that we've already covered in the in-app messenger, those 3 lines at the top will let you see any old conversations. Okay? Again, just to make it a little quick and easy to get your support. And of course, there is the Spiceworks community. So you can go out to the community, and we've got a forum there for support as well. Ask questions. Another IT pro might know it, or if no other IT pro chimes in and lets you know the solution, we monitor the community as well, and we'll go out there and help you.
Great. Well, Alex has got a question for you. Alex was saying he assumes, but since it wasn't mentioned or wasn't verbally stated, is this free?
Yes. Sorry, guys. Spiceworks is free. We're always free. Instead of going through and saying, hey, we're going to charge you based upon the number of end users or the number of admins, number of tickets, like many other companies go, we're not freemium. We're truly free. We do everything ad-supported, which is what you see on the right here with VM Turbo. And the nice thing about Spiceworks and our ad support is we actually control the ads ourselves. These tech companies come to us and say, hey, we want to advertise to IT pros, so we can always make sure that 1, there's no viruses in the ads, 2, they're not completely annoying, and 3, you're not getting stuff that is not related to tech. So if you go out and look for your local veterinary clinic to get your dog some shots, you're not going to get PetSmart ads in the side banner like you get with something like Google AdSense, which is checking your cookies.
Great. And then also you mentioned with the release notes, how often does a Cloud Help Desk have new releases?
This really depends on the dev team. We are constantly rolling out new features. Typically they'll run release notes every couple of weeks or at least once a month to say, hey, here's some changes that have gone in the help desk. Speaking of changes, I forgot it until I saw it right here, but we have recently launched an API structure for the Help Desk Cloud as well, so you can actually go out and get some additional functionality into the Help Desk Cloud. For example, a really common thing people like is the ability to do a canned reply. Maybe someone's putting in an issue that I know we've got a solution to. It's a quick and simple. I can do a canned reply now and say, hey, automatically send that out to the end user. There's also other things here, such as doing IRC for a chat desk, built in, much like the in-app messenger for our team, so that you can handle it on your own, and some file sharing through the help desk as well. Or if you just like to be fun and quirky, Notoriously Norris. Chuck Norris jokes. Just gotta love them. So, yeah, you can now go and add those into your help desk as well.
Well, thanks for Lee. I think that's a complete rundown here, and you answered all the questions that come in from our audience. Once again, thank you everybody for coming to attend. We will get this recording out shortly after the webinar. It'll be up on our SpiceU page under the webinar section. But thank you for joining us for the Spiceworks Help Desk Cloud Edition, and you guys have a wonderful day.